These games are too easy now. That may be so, but those of you that are comparing them to the OG Pokemons like Red and Blue, that was about 25 years ago. I would hope that by now a Pokemon game isn't getting the better of you. I mean, you are a full-on adult at this point. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad to want something more difficult to play. What I'm saying is that if you want something difficult, there are plenty of options for you out there. So play Elden Ring. These games are rated E for a reason. They're meant to be playable and accessible by everyone. Children included, believe it or not.
Hey, I don't like that. I don't like that point you just made. I don't think that's a good arguing point, and here's why. And before the internet turned this into something it's not, I just want to say, hey, Darvaldo, I ain't got no beef with you. I just don't like the point you made, and hearing you make it is the last time I'm willing to hear it before I say something about it. But you're not the only person that thinks this, and I don't agree with none of y'all. But it ain't about you personally, and I ain't got no beef with you. I just think something's missing. So for full context, I'm 28 years old. I've been playing Pokemon since I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. I'm 20 years in. You feel me? I ain't particularly vexed by most video games I play because I'm a grown man. That point's fine. The idea that Pokemon ain't too difficult solely because we've aged, I think that's cap. I think that to purport that people simply aren't struggling with the games anymore because they're older, sort of outright ignores some fundamental changes that Pokemon made a generation or two ago. One being the experience share. We get the experience share in the game way earlier, so it's much easier to level up Pokemon. The Pokemon gain a lot more experience than they used to on the experience share. It's not a held item anymore, so now you can't use it on one Pokemon at a time, so you're leveling up your entire team, which means you don't have to take the time to train specific Pokemon anymore. And, you know, it's very generous. Like, having an experience share like that is very generous. And in this generation, you can't turn your experience share off. So you don't even have the option of creating difficulty where the game has removed it, which is a point of contention for a lot of people, because even if the game isn't fundamentally difficult, people can decide their difficulty and play to their difficulty if they wanted to. And Pokemon has flat out taken that option away from people. To say that that's because of age ignores that. And that is something that just happened. Right? And now you couple that with the candy system, right? The candy system where you do a bunch of terror raids, get a shitload of candies. You can level up hella Pokemon all at once to a point where they don't even listen to you anymore. And the only Pokemon that listens to you is your starter because it's your starter. I know you can personally do that in this game because I accidentally did it. I got my Pokemon all the way up to like level 43, level 44. And the strongest gym in the area was at level 26. The game doesn't scale to my level, and I accidentally leveled my Pokemon up by accident, and then I steamrolled through the rest of the game because my Pokemon were always 20 to 30 levels stronger than everything else. Older Pokemon games didn't even have systems that allotted for you to do that with entire teams of Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do that with one Pokemon, really, except your starter, let alone all 6 of them. And it's real easy to do. And my final counterpoint, the gyms just aren't that strong. Specifically because of the ways in which they utilize terrestrialization. I don't think they utilize terrestrialization till its full effect. Grass type gym leader is a very good example of this. Homie has a Pseudo-Wudo. Pseudo-Wudo can cover your weaknesses. Pseudo-Wudo isn't a particularly hard Pokemon to beat. You could fuck it up with anything that has Bubble Beam or Water Pulse or Water Gun on it, or anything with Low Kick. You know, in Low Kick you can make Low Kick. You can make your own TMs. You can create coverage moves for Pokemon that'll hit Pseudo-Wudo for super effective damage, right? Pseudo-Wudo's in the grass type gym pretty early on. Final Pokemon of that grass type gym leader. Homie terrestrializes it into a grass type. And I know what you're thinking. Of course he did. That's on theme. But the Pseudo-Wudo is a petrified wood Pokemon that looks like a tree. So in the grand scheme of Pokemon that look like grass or are grass, he's already close enough. And when you terrestrialize the Pseudo-Wudo into a grass type, you get rid of all your coverage. Pseudo-Wudo is a rock type, which means it's strong against ice, fire, and flying, which are the 3 things that beat grass. Oh, and bug. Another thing that it beats that could beat grass types. You know what I'm saying? Homie got rid of his own coverage by terrestrializing it into a grass type. And like, yeah, Pseudo-Wudo still learns rock type attacks, but like, no more stab, no more attack bonus, and you learn about stab in the trainer school that you go to. You can do that in the math class, so you learn, like, you know what that is. Like, the game has built-in tutorials to teach kids how to battle optimally already, and then you got gym leaders that are terrestrializing their Pokemon that are strong against yours, or have an advantage, or at least provide coverage for their teams in order to make them weaker to the one Pokemon that you brought to sweep through them. And yeah, gyms have usually only ever used one type of Pokemon, but they still had coverage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Crasher Wake had a Quagsire. That way you couldn't run through him with an electric type. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had something. They don't even have that anymore. So you got a trainer school that teaches you how to battle. You got gym leaders that actively make their teams weaker. You have a candy system that levels the hell out of your Pokemon really early, and then you have an experience share that's so generous that Pokemon that never see battle is still going to be on par with your strongest and most frequently used. Pokemon is systemically imbalanced. Genuinely, the core game is imbalanced, and me being 28 doesn't change that. And I don't think telling people to go play something else is a really good answer to valid criticisms about systemic issues that irrefutably exist.